Glasgow Film Education Alliance was formed in 2019 and has 4 key partners. Ourselves, Glasgow Film, an independent cinema charity, Into Film, a film education charity, and 2 parts of Glasgow City Council, Glasgow Improvement Challenge and Towards Better Futures. Glasgow Film Education Alliance was formed because we recognised that the 4 partners were each doing wonderful work in film education. However, we weren't necessarily communicating or coordinating our efforts with each other. Through the Film Education Alliance, we've been able to create a shared suite of resources, and we've also been able to provide additional opportunities for teachers and children to get involved in film. One of these projects was our Teachables resource.
I've been working with the Glasgow Film Education Alliance on a project called Teachables for teachers to use film and to encourage them to use iPads in the classroom, and this was working in conjunction with Interfilm's existing wonderful resources, and so we'd be signposting and filling in gaps and making sure that it was appropriate for the Glasgow film situation. And we had 5 resources that were designed to make sure they were covering nearly all sides of film, so it'd be reading film, making documentaries, creating dramas, and making animations in the classroom as well.
Film education resources for teachers can be such a useful toolkit for them to have. It covers such a broad scope, covering cross-curricular subjects, but I mean ultimately it will help support young people's creativity, their problem-solving skills, their literacy skills, teamwork, can help them have an understanding of different cultures, of different relationships. There's so many things that can be weaved into it, and it's all there and readily available to them. And I think that's one of the things that I really love about my job, is being able to kind of provide that support to help teachers' confidence, you know, when they're delivering in film.
So I've been involved with the Film Education Alliance for the last 5 years in any possible way I can. It offers such amazing opportunities to young people, whether that's been the simple joy of seeing film on the big screen and enjoying the experience of being at a cinema like the GFT, or whether it has been the industry opportunities. We're really lucky here. Our school's always been very, very supportive and very forward thinking about that. So we have always sought to do that, taking part in the youth film festivals. We have taken part in all the kind of opportunities that we can. It's actually been a real lifesaver in many ways, and what's been really exciting is to see that so many of young people from having that experience of going into GFT have started thinking about film in a completely different way.
So Screen Scotland consider screen education to be a fundamental literacy, and that every child and young person in Scotland should have the opportunity to learn about film, to learn to film. We first started funding the Glasgow Film Education Alliance in 2019. And it's been a wonderful thing for us to watch it develop and grow over the past 5 years, and we're delighted to have been a part of their success.
One of my favourite projects has been our Film Fans, which is a project for 11 to 14-year-olds who are interested in film. It takes place at Glasgow Film Theatre, and we've worked in partnership with Into Film practitioners to provide a fun and engaging spring programme and winter programme for young people. They get to watch a film and then they receive a lecture and workshop from a qualified film education practitioner. Glasgow Film Education Alliance has also helped us at Glasgow Film to enhance our schools programme. Through the Alliance, we've been able to provide schools that visit us with additional learning resources, meaning that they can take part in more activities and learn more about the film that they've seen when back in the classroom. We've also been able to increase and provide a new suite of workshops working with both Into Film and Glasgow Film practitioners to provide schools and teachers with practical in-class activities that help advance their learning of film.
So myself and other film practitioners have worked with the young people on all sorts of different film content and different film techniques. So we've worked on films where we've created logos and idents and that sort of thing, and then other things which have been sort of semi-serious documentary pieces of work, and then we've had more crazy kind of films. We'd normally start with making sure that they cover a set of techniques so that there's some kind of skill sets that they're learning, whether that be animation or documentary camera use, and making sure that we're covering things like sound as well. But then we're always trying to make sure that the young people just lead everything. So sometimes you're thinking, can this project possibly possibly work or make a good film, and of course it always does. It always turns into something amazing.
I absolutely believe that we are at a point where film and screen education is literacy. It is education now. It's inescapable. We have to be ensuring that young people are film and screen literate. A lot of teachers are very, very keen. They see its importance, they see its validity, but they need to have these resources, they need to have these opportunities. And for young people, it's their language now. So we have to let them express that language.
We had one young person who we worked with on the Awards and Destination programme who said at the end of the project that he'd learnt more in the 5 weeks that he'd been working at Glasgow Film than he'd learnt from the whole of his high school. So it was quite a moment when he said that.
Finally, at Glasgow Film, we've also benefited from increasing our youth programme activity. Through Glasgow Film Education Alliance, we were able to establish our youth board, which is full of young people who are interested in learning about and talking to other young people about film. Over the years, through the Alliance support, they've produced wonderful resources and zines on animation and Scottish cinema, as well as lead in the programming and curation of our youth screening programme.
With the Glasgow Film Education Alliance, I have had written work of mine released publicly through zines that the Youth Board provides, and I've also had video essays that I've made and recorded shown here at the GFT.
I have learned a lot of things from being a member of GFT Youth Board. What's been most important to me is that there are so many different ways to get into the industry that don't involve university or other education pathways.
It also allows you to socialise more with like-minded people who you might not find within your school. For instance, I've made some of the best friends I've ever had here at Youth Board.
I think it's important for young people to have opportunities like this outside of school, because for me specifically, there was no real anything to do with film at my school or any creative arts funding, so I think it's good for opportunities like this that don't discriminate against anyone's background or class background specifically.
You'll develop plenty of skills, like from communication skills to teamwork skills.
Well, it's given me a bigger idea of what opportunities and what pathways I can follow.
You'll soon realise that film is a much broader industry than you ever would have imagined.
As Glasgow Film Education Alliance draws to a close after a wonderful 5 years, we hope that teachers, children, young people and families are able to see and use the resources that we've created throughout the course of the partnership.
Working as part of the Glasgow Film Education Alliance with Glasgow Film Theatre, with Glasgow City Council and all the other stakeholders and partners around the table has been so beneficial. For Into Film, Glasgow's been one of our most engaged local authorities. So we know, from our data that there's a need and there's an interest there. I think one of the things that's really beneficial about collaborating and working in partnership is shared learning, of each other's practices, pulling on resources, being able to kind of support each other and ensuring that we've got a robust programme of activity and support for teachers and young people across Glasgow City.
Screen education can of course happen in schools. It's so important that it happens in schools, but it's wonderful to see education happening in other contexts and giving young people the opportunity to learn about film and screen in a different way.
I can't believe how many young people have gone into industry or gone into college or gone into university off the back of having done screen education and having worked on film and media in here, but none of that would have been possible without the opportunities that the Glasgow Film Education Alliance has offered. Film is a career, and it's a career for anybody and everybody. It is totally, absolutely, utterly democratic. We're in such a unique position in Glasgow, and we're so lucky.
We know that through the last 5 years of working as the Glasgow Film Education Alliance, that we have been able to provide more opportunities for teachers and young people to get involved with film education. That through this they have developed their confidence, communication and team working skills, as well as have a greater understanding of the wonderful landscape of Scottish cinema.